Kouichi Sakakibara, a 15-year-old boy, is transferred to a new school at Yomiyama where his grandparents and his aunt Reiko are living due to his father working abroad. Upon arriving at Yomiyama, Kouichi contracts pneumothorax and is hospitalized. 3 of his classmates, Izumi, Tomohiko and Yukari, visit him but act strangely. After they leave, Kouichi meets another of his classmate, Mei Misaki, who was heading towards the morgue. When Kouichi recovers, he attends school, and Mei tells him that their class is close to death. The next day, while Kouichi is talking to 2 of his classmates, one of them, Naoya, lets slip that their class is cursed. Kouichi then spots Mei in the library and approaches her when the librarian man Mr. Chibiki tells him to leave. Kouichi notices that his classmates seem to act like Mei does not exist. Wanting to find out more about the dead person Mei was visiting, Kouichi asks Sanae, a nurse at the hospital, about it. The next day, Kouichi receives a call from Sanae, who tells him that the dead person was a student and her name was Misaki. On his way home, Kouichi enters a mysterious doll shop where the receptionist tells him that he's the only customer. While looking around the shop, he meets Mei, who decides to show him what is under her eye patch. Turns out, her left eye is a doll eye that can see strange things. Kouichi learns that the person Mei was visiting at the morgue was actually her cousin named Misaki Fujioka. She tells Kouichi part of a story about the curse of their class, when 26 years ago, a student also named Misaki died, but the class continues to act like he was still alive, thus inviting death. Back at school, whenever Kouichi talks to his classmate about Mei or the curse, they seem to avoid the question. Kouichi finally decided to ask Mei about it, where she claims she does not exist and can only be seen by him. Yukari spots them talking and starts panicking and runs away from them. She slipped on the stairs and the umbrella she was holding stabbed her neck, causing her to die. A week after Yukari's death, Kouichi has lied to Sanae to discuss about Mei and the story that she told him. Later on, Kouichi encounters one of his classmates, Ayano, that he managed to save when they were about to be crushed by a falling sheet of glass. Ayano then starts to cry and claims that she does not want to die. Kouichi returns to the doll shop where he met Mei. Mei refuses to tell him the rest of the story and tells him it has begun. Kouichi then confronts his classmate about them not telling him what is going on when he receives a call from Sanae. She tells him that when she tried to ask her brother about Mei, he panicked and insisted that Mei does not exist. Sanae then enters the elevator, which malfunctions and falls down the shaft, killing her. Kouichi meets Yuuya and Riko on his way home from school. He tries asking them for answers when Riko collapses and dies from a heart attack. The next day, Kouichi is completely ignored by his classmates. As he tries to understand the situation, he receives a note telling him that Mei can explain everything. Kouichi goes back to the doll shop where he finds Mei and learns that she actually lives above the shop. He finally learns that Mei actually exists, but is ignored by the rest of the class as a charm to stop the curse. After the incident 26 years ago, there will always be an extra student in the class. The extra student is supposed to be dead but does not know it either. And because of that student who represents death, each year, people will start dying one by one, and after graduation, the death will eventually stop with no one remembering who the extra student was. But by ignoring the student that they think represents death, they could stop the curse. Kouichi and Mei start hanging out more often, and they both visit the librarian Mr. Chibiki, who tells them more about the curse, and how each year, the yearbook would be altered before and after the graduation to fit in the extra person. He also tells them that only people connected to the class will experience this deaths, and the charms method of ignoring one student each year only works 50% of the time because the students don't know for sure who the extra student is. Back at home, Kouichi receives a call from his father asking him how he felt being back at Yokohama after being gone for a year and a half. In which Kouichi replies it is his first time here since living as kid. The next day, their teacher Mr. Kubatara stabs himself with a knife in front of the class. The class realizes that the charm is not working and starts ignoring both Mei and Kouichi this time. Later on, Kouichi learns about Katsumi, a former student of his class who managed to stop the curse in 1983 and left a clue and confession on how to stop it. Turns out Kouichi's aunt Reiko was in the same class with Katsumi. She manages to find his location and Kouichi and some of his classmates go on a trip to meet him. As they leave Yomiyama, they start to relax and think that the curse doesn't work outside the town. While waiting for Katsumi, the group stop to a nearby beach and play. Katsumi arrives to join them but is unable to recall where he hid his clue. Suddenly, a gust of wind blows the beach ball into the ocean. Hunta heads into the ocean to get it, only to be hit by a boat, and dies. Back at Yomiyama, Mr. Chibiki reveals that Hunta dies due to a head trauma that he received while still in Yomiyama before being hit by the motor boat, confirming that the curse only works in town. Kouichi manages to find Katsumi's clue in an old abandoned part of the school. The clue was a cassette tape on which Kasumi explains what happened in 1983. Before hearing the final part, Naoya accidentally breaks the tape but Yuya offers to repair it. Meanwhile, Ayano and her family are killed in a car accident while leaving town, and Yumi's brother also died in a freak accident. The whole class goes on a trip to Yomiyama Shrine, thinking that praying will lift up the curse. Kouichi listens to the repaired tape at the hotel and finds out that Katsumi got into a fight with one of his classmates and killed him by accident. When he went back the next morning, he found that the body was missing. When he discovers that no one remembers the person he killed, he realized that he had killed the extra student and the curse was lifted. Mei then tells Kouichi that her dead cousin Misaki Fujioka was actually her twin sister. She also explains to Kouichi that she is able to see the color of death with her left eye. Hence ensure that Kouichi is not the extra student this year. Kouichi then questions Mei who the actual extra student is. Suddenly, Naoya busts into the room and says that he may have killed someone innocent. Naoya explains that he pushed Mexico off the balcony convinced that he was the extra person. As they head out to check if Mexico was still alive, Kouichi finds a wounded classmate, the dining hall on fire and the manager of the hotel killed. Naoya and Yuya then tries to evacuate the other's classmate, when they are chased and attacked by the manager's wife who has gone insane. Meanwhile, Takako, who believes Mei is the extra one, broadcasts the tape across the hotel, leading everyone to go on a hunt for Mei. Takako manages to find Mei and tries to kill her but he is strangled to death instead when he gets caught in some wires. Mei then runs off telling Kouichi that she would kill the extra person. A small group of students try to escape the burning hotel. Tomohiko is seen going around killing anyone he sees to find the extra person. He tries to kill Kouichi but he's stopped by Izumi. Izumi then goes after Mei and then dies when she is hit by a shattered glass caused by a lightning struck. Kouichi then finds Mei outside the hotel who tells him that the extra person this year is in fact Miss McCauley, their assistant homeroom teacher. Miss McCauley also happens to be Kouichi's Aunt Reiko who had died 1.5 years ago. Kouichi then reluctantly kills Reiko, thus ending the curse. The show ends with Naoya and Yuya hiding a new cassette for those who may face the curse in the future.